Good evening. It looks like it's right at 6 o'clock, and I'd like to just do a quick roll to make sure we have the parties represented. Do I have a member of Next Era on the line or via video?
This is Marcos Mora from NextEra.
Okay, thank you. A representative from the Public Service Commission staff?
This is Casey Aslin. We have Alan Bax and Sarah Lange here to answer questions.
Okay, thank you. And then the Office of Public Counsel?
Yes, Nathan Williams.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. It looks like it is just now 6 o'clock. I'd like to thank everyone for attending this evening's virtual public hearing for the Next Era Energy Transmission Southwest CCN case. My name is Debbie Quick, and I'm a member of the Public Service Commission staff. I will facilitate the question and answer session for the hearing. This hearing is streaming live on the Public Service Commission website. Please mute your line unless you are speaking to reduce any excess noise and feedback. I'd like to provide you with a brief overview process of tonight's hearing. There are two parts to this public hearing, an informal and formal session. The first part is the question and answer session. This is the informal part of the hearing where you will be able to ask any questions you may have about the case. I will ask representatives from the Public Service Commission staff, the Office of Public Counsel, which is the consumer advocate, NextEra, and any other parties to the case to formally introduce themselves shortly. They will be available to answer questions you may have. This part of the hearing will stream live on the Commission's website but will not be recorded or on the record. The judge and commissioners don't participate in this part of the hearing since the case is still being decided. There is a general information sheet about this case on the Public Service Commission's website, and that is psc.mo.gov, if you would like more information. That sheet is available from the homepage. If you would have any trouble accessing that information sheet, you may contact the Public Service Commission Consumer Information Department. That is 800-392-4211, and staff can assist you. The second part of tonight's hearing is the comment or testimony session with the judge and commissioners. During this formal part of the hearing, your statement will be on the record, it will be recorded, and will become a part of the case file. You won't be able to ask questions in this part of the hearing since the case is still active. The commissioners will review the filings in the case record to make their decision on the case, so it is very important for you to have your comments be a part of the record. The judge, commissioners, or counsel for the parties may ask you a question, but you can't ask a question. Again, the second part of the hearing is on the record with the court reporter transcribing the comments. The court reporter will not transcribe the question and answer session. At this point, I'd like to ask the representatives to unmute their lines and identify themselves when introduced. I will begin with the NextEra representative.
Yes, hi, good evening. My name is Marcos Mora. I'm Executive Director of Transmission Development for NextEra Energy.
Thank you. The Public Service Commission staff.
This is Casey Aslin for staff counsel. I can let Alan and Sarah introduce themselves.
Yes,
I am Sarah Lange.
Alan Bax, an engineer on the staff of the commission.
Sarah Lange, economist on the staff of the commission.
Okay, thank you. The Office of Public Counsel representative.
Nathan Williams. I'm an attorney and I'm representing the Office of the Public Counsel.
Thank you. If there are any other parties to the case who would like to address questions, please let me know. Okay, hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is Andrew Schulte on behalf of NextEra Energy Transmission Southwest, which we'll refer to as NEAT Southwest. or Nextera for short. Marcos Mora has introduced himself, and he will be leading the question and answer session for NEAT Southwest. However, we do have several other subject matter experts on the line that may be the most appropriate parties to answer certain questions. Would you like each of those individuals to be introduced now, or they could also just introduce themselves when it's most appropriate for them to speak?
Yes, if they would just introduce themselves if they answer any questions, that would be great.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Okay. If you're joining us on video, there is a chat feature. This feature is not a part of the record. If you have a question, you may use the chat feature and we will try to answer your questions as time allows. If you would like to make a comment to the Commission, please make your comment in the second part of the hearing so that it is part of the record, not in the chat feature. I would also like to ask the representatives to identify themselves before answering questions for those who are not on video. When you ask a question, please unmute your line. You may need to press *6 if you're joining the hearing by phone. Unless you are speaking, please make sure your line is muted to eliminate excess noise so everyone will be able to hear the question and the answers. We'll go ahead and begin. Please just speak up if you have a question. We'll take questions one at a time. Remember to unmute your line, *6. Any questions?
Ma'am, I'll go ahead and start with a question, if I may.
Okay.
We represent landowners. We're a farm management company, and we're caring for some property near Highway 126. And we have a center pivot system that is near the path of the proposed transmission line. And I guess the thing we'd like to find out is there going to be willingness or flexibility to adjust your path with your towers and lines so that we do not have to shorten this irrigation system.
Yeah, so I can answer that question. Is it appropriate to do so now?
Yes, go ahead. And if you'd like to identify yourself again.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Marcos Mora. I'm the Executive Director of Transmission Development for NEAT. Yeah, the answer to that question is yes. We normally try and when we're going through our routing identification of proposed route to minimize impacts to really any irrigation system, especially on pivot irrigation systems, because we understand that those are complex and expensive, and so if there is, and normally our lines can, if they're in the vicinity, they can actually expand the irrigation system so that there is no impact. But if in a situation where there could be an impact, then there's certainly an opportunity to make adjustments as to this best extent possible to minimize the impact.
Thank you. Yes, now I do understand we can swing underneath the wires very likely, but if placement of poles could potentially cause an issue of having to shorten a span or something, and then we could lose irrigated acres around the entire radius of that that pivot system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have it sounds like there's a specific situation there, we definitely would like to take a look at that and see if we can proactively address that. So if
okay.
we have, as part of the project, we have several ways you could contact us via hotline or website or email, and somebody will establish contact with you within 48 hours to start conversations and take a look at that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that response.
Right. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Greg Mowdy, and I represent, or I'm on this meeting to represent our family farm. We do have two sections or a section and a half worth of property that this proposed line is going through. And that section and a half is under a solar contract option. And I'm wondering if NEAT or anybody has been in conversation with that company to be able to understand if this line can even go in while there's a solar farm in place.
Yes, this is Marcos Mora again from Nextera. We are aware of a solar development. We have looked at the area that's optioned for that purpose. We do think our route can coexist in that location without getting in each other, the line getting in the solar field's way or vice versa. If it's the same one there's one in the area that you described that we have looked at, so I'm assuming it's the same one, but maybe to be sure, again, it might not hurt to let's review the specific case that you're talking about, and we can confirm if it is the exact same one that we have addressed it.
Can you, is there a process we need to go through in order to speak with somebody to review that?
Yes, so there's and actually we do have a slide on that, but there's a hotline where we have a phone number, we have an email address, and we also have on our website, there's like a, contact us form. Any one of those channels, go to our inbox where we can, we capture the information and the request, and we get in touch with the requester, because it usually would, within 24 to 48 hours. And we can put that information up here shortly if that helps. We can put it up on the screen.
Okay, thank you for addressing that, Marcos.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Again, this is your opportunity to ask any questions you may have about the case with the parties available. Again, if you have a question, remember to unmute or possibly have to press *6.
Ma'am, this is Greg Mowdy again. I've got one more question.
Go ahead.
This land that I previously talked about with the solar option we've had some site surveying done on that property by, I assume, Nextera or NEAT. But that's really about all that we have been informed about. Typically we've had some other transmission lines go in as well, but at the point where they start doing site surveys, we've usually had some sort of information about proposed land values or lease agreements or purchase agreements. Are we at that step? Has this proposed line gotten that far, or are we still researching routes to determine where it can go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very, very good question. This is Marcos Mora again. So we are at the stage where we have a proposed route as part of this proceeding. Obviously, until the commission, we go through the commission approval, we can't take the step of actually negotiating the final easement and per acre pricing. However, we are entering involuntary negotiations for land options, and as part of those conversations, we can definitely talk about per acre price when we get to the those terms can actually even be negotiated as part of the land option agreement, which obviously the agreement is a voluntary agreement, and then it would be executed for the final easement after the commission approves the certificate application.
Thank you very much, Marcos.
So maybe to follow up on that too, what I think we can definitely, since we're going to be talking to you about the solar stuff, I think we can, start having those conversations if that's now, no harm in having those conversations in terms of land option agreements and that type of information.
Yeah, so the biggest reason for that question is we have about 3/4 of a mile worth of soybeans that have been driven through and already had loss of production due to that, just for site survey, without any other plan of lease agreement or purchase agreement. So I didn't know, how far we are into this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, totally understand that. And our goal is to not disrupt, your farming operations there. So definitely would like to talk about that some more. And the sooner we can figure these things out, then of course I think there's no harm. Like I said, we can start those conversations as part of land option agreements, and we can definitely discuss that. So we're not, we're not disrupting your operation and making sure that any impacts we're working with the landowners to make sure that you're not being I guess adversely impacted by it, right, or economically impacted in a negative way by it.
Any other last minute questions before we go into the second part of the hearing?
Ma'am, this is Nick Fur, Project Director with Dexter. If appropriate, I'd like to at least share the screen and show our contact information so the folks on the call can access this. Would that be okay?
Yes, and then if you'd like to just repeat it for those who aren't on video, if they're by phone, that would be great.
Absolutely. Everyone see or tell me when you can see my screen, folks that can see it.
Yes.
All right, so we have a couple ways to contact us as Marcos mentioned, to answer questions in a timely fashion. So first off, the phone number is 620-205-2051. The email address is neatsouthwest, NEETSW @nexteraenergy.com. And then we have a website. It's nexteraenergytransmission.com/subsidiaries/neetsw.html. And I'll read that email off again. I know it's a lot. I can read it again. It's the phone number 620-205-2051. And it's Neat Southwest, NEETSW @nexteraenergy.com. And then nexteraenergytransmission.com/subsidiaries/neetsw.html. And I can repeat that again if anybody needs.
Okay, any other questions, or do you need any of that information repeated? Okay, hearing none, we will go ahead and take a quick break, a minute or two, while the judge comes on the line and the commissioners, and we can begin then the second part of the hearing. I appreciate you attending tonight's public hearing, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Ms. Bench. Well, I see you waving. Okay, we'll give the commissioners just a couple minutes. You can hear me, right? Okay, excellent. We'll give the commissioners just a couple minutes. Tonight we are expecting Commissioners Coleman, Holzman, and Kolkmeyer. So like I said, we aren't on the record yet for everyone listening. We have just gotten signed on to WebEx, and we'll go ahead and be getting started here in just a moment.
Commissioner Coleman is on.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Coleman, and welcome. Okay, let's go ahead and we will go on the record. First, I would like to ask that everyone please mute themselves unless they are speaking. This will cut down on the noise level and also prevent audio feedback. Today is September 29th, 2022. The Missouri Public Service Commission has set this time for a local public hearing to give members of the public a chance to comment about NextEra's application to construct, operate, and maintain the 9-mile portion of a 345 kV transmission line in Barton and Jasper counties. This is the public hearing for file number EA-2022-0234. The Missouri Public Service Commission regulates the rates charged by public utility companies in Missouri to ensure that those rates are just and reasonable. The Commission also regulates the quality of service and safety of the operations of public utilities. The Commission is made up of 5 commissioners. Those commissioners are appointed by the governor to fixed terms and confirmed by the Senate. The commissioners employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. My name is Charles Hatcher. I'm the regulatory law judge that will preside over this hearing. With me tonight, as I stated, are Commissioners Maida Coleman, and we're also expecting Commissioners Jason Holzman and Glenn Kolkmeyer. I'll give them a chance to speak up. Thank you, Commissioner Holzman. I appreciate that. And
Thank you,
Commissioner
Judge.
Kolkmeyer. Okay. Like I said, this is an official hearing of the Missouri Public Service Commission, and the statements and testimony of the witnesses will be recorded by the court reporter and are given under oath. The commission has not made any decisions in this case, and they cannot answer any questions today because they do have to remain impartial until after all of the evidence is presented. Let's go ahead and start with council introductions. First, we'll go with NextEra.
Good evening, Judge Hatcher and commissioners. This is Andrew Schulte with the Polsinelli Law Firm on behalf of NextEra Energy Transmission, LLC, the applicant in this proceeding, and also representing NEAT Southwest is Ann Kallenbach, my colleague, also at Polsinelli.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll go to counsel for the commission staff.
Casey Aslin for commission staff.
Thank you. And next, office of the public counsel.
Nathan Williams, appearing on behalf of the Office of the Public Counsel and the Public. My contact information is P.O. Box 2230, Jefferson City, Missouri, 65102.
Thank you, sir. We do have 3 interveners in this case. They are not required to be here, but I do want to give them an opportunity to state for the record their attendance. First, we have the Southwest Power Pool, also known as SPP.
Good evening. This is Heather Starnes from Healy Law Offices. I am here on behalf of Southwest Power Pool.
Thank you, ma'am. And for Evergy? And for Liberty. Okay. The process that we're going to use for tonight's hearing to receive public comments is to call the names on our sign-up sheet. Tonight I have only one name. What will happen is, well, we'll just do that right now. The name I have is Greg Mowdy, and I'll ask Mr. Mowdy to go ahead and unmute. If he is on a phone, it is *6 to unmute. I will call for other witnesses who did not sign up. So after I give Mr. Mowdy an opportunity, I will call for any other witnesses that have been here listening this evening and would like to give comments. Mr. Mowdy, can you speak up, please? Greg Mowdy?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Let me swear you in before you get started real quick. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead. Please tell us your comments.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I am a grandson to a family farm in southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri. We have about a section and a half worth of property that this line's proposed to go through the middle of. That property is also signed up in a solar contract that may or may not cause issues with. That's really my biggest concern is 2 things. One, causing issues with that contract, which is a third party. But also, if that option does not go through, this line running through the middle of some highly valuable farmland and causing disruption within our operation.
Okay. And I forgot to ask, Mr. Mowdy, would you confirm your last name is spelled M-O-W-D-Y?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any other testimony you wanted to give, Mr. Mowdy?
I believe that's it.
Okay. Are there any commissioner questions for Mr. Mowdy?
No questions, Judge. Just thank you for the
thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mowdy. Hearing no questions, the bench has no questions. Thank you, Mr. Mowdy. You're, of course, welcome to stay on the line. Are there
Judge
any
Hatcher,
other
if
witnesses?
I may.
Oh, yes, yes.
My question's just about this is Nathan Williams. My question's just about the nature of the farming activity on this section and a half that the line may impact. If Mr. Mowdy would address that, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Mr. Mowdy, what kind of farm are you, what kind of farm are you talking about?
We are a cash crop farm, so we do farm corn, wheat, and soybeans. This section and a half worth of property that this line's proposed to go through actually through the exact center of, has been in the family for a lot of years. We've been able to have some of this land become some of the most efficient land that we farm because of taking a lot of trees out, doing a lot of land improvement, water management, but also very efficient as far as time efficiency. So it's probably some of the most highly productive ground that we've got. And that's the reason why I'm concerned about if the solar option doesn't go through and we do have a power line right through the middle of it. We've also heard that there's a possible substation that may go in the middle of that as well. I don't know if that may be more rumor than factual, but that would cause a fair amount of efficiency issues.
If I may, one other question, and thank you for indicating that the land's being used for crop farming. How much of the land is located in Missouri versus Kansas?
Of our farm or the proposed line?
Farm.
Our total farm, about 50% is in Missouri and 50% is in Kansas.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I had not opened that up for attorney questions, but Mr. Williams raised a good point. So I would like to go ahead and open that up if there's any other counsel that had some follow-up questions for Mr. Mowdy. Okay, hearing no questions, I'll turn again to our participants. If you are on the phone, you unmute by pressing *6, that's the asterisk, and number 6. And if you're on a smartphone or the app or the web page, there's going to be a little microphone and a button if you move your mouse. Not a button, obviously, but a link will show up at the bottom of your screen with a microphone, and that's how you unmute. Are there any other persons who would like to testify tonight? We're going to give that a little extra 30 seconds, and I know it's an uncomfortable silence, but unmuting and dealing with WebEx, this is just the best practices. Again, if you're on a phone, if you called in a number, it's *6 to unmute. Okay, sometimes that happens. If you are unable to unmute and wanted to give testimony, or you know somebody who wasn't able to be here tonight and would like to provide their comment to the commission, they can still do that and provide a written comment by going to the PSC's web page, and that is psc.mo.gov, G-O-V. And if you have any questions for the Office of the Public Counsel, that was the attorney who was asking the questions about the farmland, you can communicate with that office at MOPCO, this is an email address, @opc.mo.gov. Again, that's MOPCO
at opc.mo.gov. Did I hear somebody on the line? Okay, well, I would again like to thank Mr. Mowdy, and I would like to thank our commissioners for being here tonight, Commissioner Colin, Commissioner Holzman, and Commissioner Kolkmeyer, and also for all of the council for being here. This will end our public hearing. This hearing is now adjourned. Oh, well, we'll unadjourn that. Mr. Williams, go ahead.
I'd like to provide another email address. The one that will go directly to me for public counsel is
okay.
Nathan, Nathan .Williams, WILLIAMS at opc.mo.gov. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, with that note, we are adjourned. We are
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Judge. Happy birthday.